Anna, good.
To Corey.
Oh, look at, extra pictures. Oh, good.
Or ice cream.
Good.
Ice cream only?
Well, whatever.
Jane
It's like
looks
a
so
thermal
busty in the wedding.
glass like we used
Did
to.
you notice that? She,
Tell her that she loves it.
well, she did. And
She
she
says
said,
once in her
I have
life.
one too?
oh, look at them. Beautiful.
No, I got one.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Please stop doing that.
Yeah.
She looks like a fairy princess.
If I ever have grandkids, they might be good looking.
I think your
Between
grandkids
the
would
two.
be very good looking.
Yeah, you got a pretty good chance.
You found another present you like opening? Is that what you like? We're gonna have to find a spot on
do
the
we all
deck
have
for
to
that.
do Oh,
Okay.
That
I
sounds
was hoping to
good.
put something ad hoc in
okay,
there.
so
Like the last time.
Evie, we're not hanging on the
Be about
tree.
Christmas.
Right now it's all we're going to is for Jingling James.
So,
That would be
so
pretty on
this
the
picks up
deck.
all the volume?
There you go.
Yeah, that's where I'm gonna
Good
put
job,
it, stuff on the deck.
I mean, even if we're asking for.
My mom gave
Pretty
me one of those things that's like this big. The thing is so loud that I had it hanging on the garage and it was still so loud I had to take it down and try to figure out a way to muffle it a little bit. I took the thing out of the center and it was ding ding ding.
Bong, bong, bong.
Loud.
Well, thank you, Corey and Joyce.
Thank you.
What are you gonna do? You gonna open another one? Go ahead. Yeah, go right ahead.
Well, I've never
I
done
thought
this
we did.
exactly.
Isn't that pretty?
How you do it, or.
You know where these are gonna go? I don't even know if you'll ever open up the
Grandma,
bathroom
purple
door
one.
down
We
there.
stay,
Did you?
we stay out of it,
Yep.
don't we? Out of the
Yep.
back, out of the picture?
Yeah.
This is when you're trying to get them to say something they don't expect to be on tape because they don't know if
They
you're on
don't.
right now.
For
We
the,
did last
We,
time.
we got some great diaphragm stories from
Thank
Grandma last time
What?
because of that.
What's the first Christmas you guys
Going
remember
upstairs
when we
at
were
the
young?
table.
When we were young.
What-
What's the
tuxedo.
first Christmas we can remember when we were young?
I mean,
Is it
before
going?
we were married?
That would be when you're young, yeah. Something like that. Whoa, oh, wait, honey, no, that's all Grandpa's things. Oh, thank you, thank you. I don't know, that's Grandpa's things, we better not.
You cut and paste this at all?
We haven't done,
No.
we haven't done
Oh,
much with it
good.
yet.
Grandpa's
raw.
lucky.
Okay, Evie.
This is perfect for Ben and Jerry's, you know?
Haagen-Dazs?
It's perfect for ice cream.
Hey, Evie.
I used to put gloves on when I used to eat a little pint of ice cream because I didn't want it, my hands would get so cold when I was right out of the carton.
You want an answer?
To what? The first Christmas,
First Christmas you remember together.
oh, together.
Is that what that was? Together?
It could be
We'll say
either.
Christmas as
It
It could
kids.
be either if you could
Kid
remember as
Christmas.
kids,
First Christmas, yeah.
or how what were your traditions, you know, in each of your households that you had to merge together when you got married.
I don't know that
I don't think we had.
we had any traditions. I think all my younger sisters and I used to have to decorate the tree because Mother and Dad weren't interested.
Did you buy the tree at a lot, or did you go
Yeah,
and cut it down?
we had one of the neighbor boys, Dave Chatfield, took us over to the lot and bought a tree.
Did he put the
No,
lights on?
Yes, because the lights are the worst part. Oh. But I don't, you know, with my awful memory, I don't remember. We couldn't have a first Christmas because he was gone for years. And I think the first Christmas, see, he got home when Corey was 3.5 months old. So we were at Mother's and Dad's house for that Christmas. And of course, my dad loved babies, and he was used to holding Corey,
Should we take that?
and no dad there.
Okay.
And Dad wanted to hold him, and he says, "You're probably thinking about babies."
Okay, come on. Baby, come on.
Your Christmases when you were kids, were there many presents around the trees
Oh, yeah.
in those days?
And
Not
Nana
one
had,
tree.
oh yeah, and Nana had a lot of friends coming over, and she'd always send us girls upstairs to wrap another gift for whoever came to the door. Yeah,
Dad, how about you? Did you get many gifts growing up?
Or did you only get
We
cold?
used to, Christmas time, we used to get long black stockings and BBDs.
They had,
DVDs.
they had DVDs
That's what they
back then?
called
Oh,
BVDs for, those are
Underwear.
tidy whities.
Oh, okay.
Long underwear. One Christmas, though, I did get a pair of skates, I remember that.
Oh, I remember getting
about
a
that?
pair of skates, but they'd buy them too big for you in those days, so they'd fit you for several years. Then you hand them down to the next kid in line.
One
But
time-
I do remember getting skis once.
Like
And
cross
go-
country kind of skis or downhill skis?
Well,
Oh,
there was no downhill in those days.
Yo, skis.
They're just skis. But my girlfriend took them and broke them right away, so I never did get to enjoy them. So.
Hey, that's like Colin's Christmas where his bike got stolen right away.
I got so I didn't like Christmas after a while because mother always got sick afterwards. She worked too hard and she'd get pneumonia and then she'd
Don't
have
you
to go
get
to the
sick now?
hospital.
You did too much work.
And that was kind of
No.
sad. And she did this about 5 years in a row that I can remember. And after we grew up and got married, and of course she didn't get sick anymore.
Didn't have all that work anymore.
It broke the camera.
Oh dear, I knew what would happen.
So then what was Christmas like when the kids were little?
He said, please don't buy anything else that I have to put together the night before Christmas. And
course.
one year when Sally was little, I said, oh, she's just got to have a playhouse. So we got this great big thing that was built of cardboard. You had to put it all together in the basement, and it filled up a corner of the basement. And I thought, oh, I could just see her in there playing with her dolls and cooking and all. She never went in the darn thing. so we gave it to Donnie Howe, and he loved it. He'd shoot out the windows. And
Was it hard to hide gifts from us when we were growing up?
yeah, I'd have to do it just like I'd hide the goodies in the freezer behind the vegetables and hope she'd never think to go back there to look for them.
Even I didn't know that.
I can remember hunting for Christmas gifts before Christmas.
Can you?
Really?
And we'd have to
You?
fill the stockings after you all went to bed.
And what'd you fill it with?
We always got one of those lifesaver books, you know, with all the
Comic
Cute.
books, you know.
yeah,
A lot of comic books.
yeah.
We always got an apple or oranges too.
Oh, fiddly-dee, you had those to eat anytime.
No.
And we got a new toothbrush. We used our toothbrush for a year. Then we got a new one
You're
every
so
Christmas.
No.
They get peanuts in their stockings?
Probably, yeah, because Bill loved the salted in the shell peanuts.
They're probably still in baggies though.
How was Sally as a little girl during Christmas? I'm kind of interested to know.
Spoiled.
Well, it was fun having a little girl after all the boys.
A long blonde ponytail.
Yeah, but she wasn't like Jane. I remember when she was real little, would wear nothing but long dresses until she was maybe 4 or 5 years old.
Because she thought she was a boy.
Oh, well, she looked real pretty then.
No, I meant Sally.
Oh, Sally. No, we got a lot of pictures of her and her pretty little things. And the Kaplans next door used to send over clothes for her. Oh, boxes of these magnificent clothes. Almost like brand new. Of course, they had plenty of money. So for her first 3 or 4 years, she was dressed like a princess. She didn't have a grandma like you have. And then she grew too big.
She
Too
became
tall.
gruesome.
Thanks, Corey.
No, she became older.
She became older, yes.
More
But the
mature.
Kaplan girls were real little.
Did we ever put out cookies or milk for Santa Claus?
Not that I recall. I don't remember doing that.
I don't either.
Santa
And
Claus
did
did
you
come?
did you have to tell them that about Santa Claus, or did they just figure it out on their own?
I think they figured it out. I don't know. People
Billy and
were-
I always believed in it, and Sally told us there wasn't a Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah.
13 years old when she's born.
She ruined it for us.
Sally still believes that.
Yeah, good.
Well, those years go by so fast you can't remember those things.
You know what? I have a terrible memory, but you usually remember things good.
Well, they didn't get a lot of presents, I know that.
Well,
Not
we
like
didn't
today.
have the money like.
Did we have a traditional meal at Christmas time?
Oh yeah, we'd always have the whole
casserole.
family. So many of us, we'd have to go down on the picnic or on the ping pong table,
That's right.
but lugging all
You
that
guys
food
had a
up
ping
and down.
pong table?
Yeah, we had
I
a
never
good
had a
size.
ping pong table.
Tell us about the Christmases that we spent at the fire station.
That's right. There became so many grandchildren in our whole families, both families, that, you know, Ralph Croce was a fireman. So we'd get a fire hall and we could have our big Christmases there. And then the kids could run around like crazy in these big rooms and exchange gifts. We had to draw names in those days. There were so many kids. And
So you'd get together with all the different
Kolars
families?
and their
Got
kids
so
and all
big
the
you
Sills
finally
and-
would need the auditorium, so we had to quit it altogether.
Well, they all got too old then.
Did Nancy's House family, did they participate?
Never.
So it was Ginny's family and your family and
And
Betty and Ralph and
Barb.
Sylvia,
Yeah,
Bob?
and Barbara. Yeah, Barbara.
Right.
So you did stuff with Dave and...
Barb and Dave were probably divorced by then.
Oh yeah,
Sylvia.
but we'd have the girls over.
So you did stuff
Oh,
with
yeah.
Dave and John?
That's right.
Which Dave,
Yeah, I wasn't born yet.
What kind of food would you guys do for all the many people?
I
Potluck?
don't even remember. I think it must have been, you know, at the
Turkey
fire
and all the
station. you know.
trimmings?
Um,
Ralph was a cook too, wasn't he?
he was a what? Oh,
Wasn't
yeah.
he a cook?
Oh yeah, most firemen are good that way. Yes, very good.
Now, when Bill was little, didn't he get a new costume every Christmas?
Oh yeah, he always had all the cowboy
TV
or the
craze was.
Indian or the
Did Corey get that kind of stuff?
no.
He was too
He
mature.
was
I played with dolls.
he did yeah.
I've been
He never got
talking
it.
about Cassidy. Included adults.
What kind of toys were popular back then?
Well, I remember Bill with his horses and
Yeah, we
men
still
and,
have
and
those.
his and cowboys and Indians.
Still got them, huh?
And
Yeah.
when Doug and Jane were little, they'd come over and they just loved it because we had a
Bonder
clothes
shoes?
chute right under the kitchen sink.
What
So-
shoot?
Clothes chute, you know, so the dirty clothes go.
Oh, okay.
And one of them would be down in the basement and the other would be up in the kitchen, and they'd tie string around one of the horses or the men, and they'd put them down this chute, and the guy downstairs would grab it. And they played. She still remembered that.
Well, what did you get for Corey?
I don't know. He was so
Dysfunctional
spoiled.
toys.
We didn't. He was the only grandchild around, and
So he was
everybody
spoiled then.
Oh yes, he was spoiled rotten. And Dad wouldn't.
Your sister spoiled me.
Everybody, you know.
I didn't find out the truth about him.
And when
So that's what caused
Corey
him to be such a
finally came,
brat.
or when Warren finally came home from the war, he wanted to hold baby Corey, and my dad says, "You don't know anything about babies," and then he grabs him away. His dad loved babies.
So what were Christmases like on the ship?
Whoa.
We're very quiet. They always had a good traditional turkey dinner. Somehow or other, they always managed to get a turkey, and they'd have the full course dinners. Really surprising how they ever got all that food together.
Oh, they must have had big freezers.
But we never had any singing festivals or any ministers or anything like that, because our ship was small enough that they didn't do those kind of things.
Did they decorate it at all?
Not to my knowledge, no.
That probably wouldn't go over real good.
String lights outside.
You're on a target.
I'm thinking of inside the ship.
Yeah, but they'd hardly have room to
I see
walk
so many
anyhow.
things
Oh,
on our
guys.
ship
Sure.
they didn't want to catch fire and burn, you know, so decorations would be, you know, something to go up in a hurry in a fire.
Are you sure it was turkey they served you? It could have been seagulls.
It could have been a rabbit too.
I do remember going to church and they had a pageant with grown men and babies. And I remember when the three wise men came down the aisle singing, "We three kings of Orient are." Oh, I was so thrilled. It was beautiful.
Did the military give you any Christmas bonuses or
Who did?
the military?
Did they ever
Christmas
give you any
bonuses.
Christmas bonuses?
What,
You
no,
didn't
no,
even get a bonus
No,
after the
the
war.
military when you're on
Oh, no.
when you're on the
Lord,
ships.
no.
So you didn't exchange gifts or anything with anybody?
Turkey is what we got.
They were lucky to get a meal like that.
How about favorite Christmas songs?
Favorite what?
Christmas songs.
No, no singing on the name.
No, I mean,
Well,
I mean with yourself. Your
I like
favorite
any
songs.
of the Christmas
Oh,
carols,
we
but
used to, when you guys got a little older, we used to go over to church and listen to the Christmas carols on Christmas Eve and things like that. But that only lasted 3 or 4 years.
Until Dad protested too much, right?
yeah. Well, they all got to a certain age.
Did we always open our presents on Christmas Day?
Yeah,
Did you open any on Christmas Eve?
maybe one,
I think we'd let them do one.
yeah.
That was Sally, because she always got 2 and Billy and I only got 1
That's
present.
right.
Well, you got a good
Didn't
memory.
he have an awful childhood? Oh,
Terrible.
he was so lucky with all his sisters and mother and dad spoiling him.
Did y'all have any big snowstorms?
That's why he never
over
had
there?
to lift a finger
Oh,
to
Christmas?
this day.
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah.
You're so
I think-
spoiled, you've never had to
I
lift a
think-
finger.
The winters used to be much worse than
You
they
ever
are
watched
now.
Jessica Simpson
More
on the
snow
US?
and.
Because you remind me exactly of her.
Did Nana always come over for Christmas?
Oh, after Dad had died, yes. She used to have everybody, you know, when
Yeah,
she still
right.
had the big house.
But on Christmas Day, did she come to our house, or did she
Oh, yeah.
go to all the sisters at different times, or?
Well, it was only Ginny and me that would have her. We'd have them, and Ann and Ralph and Barb and Mel and their girls. And
Tell us what you remember about Nana with ham.
oh,
What
well,
peaches.
Nana was tall and slender, but she would only eat the fat off the ham. And of course, none of us kids would eat the fat, so it all went on Nana's plate.
And we passed ours to her, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
everybody's.
And then she went on it with pickle juice.
Did she eat like that when you guys were kids too, or was that?
I don't remember. I just remember going out in later years and having pancakes, and Mother ate pancakes, and I said, I didn't know you liked. I never saw you eat pancakes. She says there were never any left by the time she fed all of us.
Now, what was the last Christmas you spent in your house when you were on that street? I forgot what street it was, but
Humboldt?
You mean 54th?
yeah,
where we live?
54. Yeah. So did you have the whole family there? You know,
Oh,
the
we
last time.
Yeah. But we'd have to be down. We had a walkout basement, which is nice. Of course, not
Okay.
gorgeous like this, but Dad built a beautiful room down there. So that was nice.
Pardon?
The neighborhood kids just loved to use the bathroom, so you had to have a potty put in. It was so handy to come in when they're playing.
That's when I,
And
speaking of not having something to work on Christmas Eve, because you spend all your time putting it together, I was working on that buzz box for you. I finally got that together on a Christmas Eve, and we gave it to him for Christmas morning, remember? We built that thing so he wouldn't put his fingers into the
yeah,
sockets.
they didn't have those
He as
protective.
meaning.
No.
Huh?
He as meaning.
Bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember how old Billy was when you gave that to him?
I would imagine he was probably 5 or 6 at the oldest.
Oh, I don't even think that old, because
Maybe
it's
4.
when they're younger, they'll go for
Yeah.
electrical outlets.
So it's at least 50 years old and it's still working.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Some of the lights are starting to
is?
fall out.
it's some of the buzzers don't work the same, but
I think he changed the cord on it.
I
once.
was gonna say in Florida, the cord had rotted out and you put a new cord on.
Still, the casket handle's still working. though.
Yeah. He didn't know what to do he doesn't like working with wood, and he loved the electrical part, but trying to put that wood around it. And then he thought, how are we gonna move it? He was working in a mortuary, so yeah, casket handle, yeah.
That's the kind of handles they put on pine
That's
boxes.
in the old days.
I never realized that.
and that got passed down to all the different kids
Yeah.
too.
And all
Where
those-
I was at your house that you saw the stairs.
Yeah.
And then they would use those out in the wading pool and pretend that was a diving board. They could go up the second step and jump into the water.
The one that we have?
Yeah.
We were out playing,
That
and he
was-
used to
That was
whistle.
When
Corey's
Corey
when
was
he
a
was a baby.
Sally, is it too?
No, Corey,
all the
Bill,
kids.
Sally, Jane, Doug,
Yeah.
Valerie, Colin,
Yeah.
and now
We were
Evie.
spaced just a far enough apart that everyone got to use it.
Yeah.
That's a
And we had a-
three-generation stool.
Yeah.
4 generations now. I don't know,
Yeah.
3.
Now 4 with
Three.
Evie.
Gosh.
Dad, Billy just brought up a good point. Do you remember whistling for us all the time to come home?
Oh, yeah, you betcha. If you weren't within whistling distance, too bad.
But I think that whistle was so loud they could hear it.
I
Clear up the
remember
school.
hereing it from Armitage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Are you
had
serious?
to be
Oh,
3
yeah.
blocks away or
What,
more.
you mean your own natural whistle, or did you have it with?
No,
Oh
he did it
no.
with mouth.
He just,
There you go. Okay, yeah, that's what I was trying to solicit, yeah.
I gotta get it home, guys, or I don't.
That's the old fashioned
Sal
cell
will get
phone.
it all.
I don't need this.
yeah.
You hear that? The old-fashioned cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pager.
Speaking of whistling, I remember when you went to Camp Ida Hoppy, was it?
Idaho.
It's still YMCA camp.
All his
Still-
boyfriends were
Ida
there.
Hoppy.
You were allowed to visit them on a Sunday in between the 2 weeks. Parents were allowed. So we go to visit them, and all the other boys are all so lonesome for their home. They're all crying. They want to go back home with mom and dad. So his boyfriends all went home with their mother and dad. And I told him, he
Well,
said,
he
"Oh, I
wanted
want to go too."
Yeah.
And I said, "No way." I said, "Your dad's paid for this. You gotta stick it out another week."
Well, damn right.
Enjoy it.
And just about then, he's hanging on the fender, and Donna saying, "Oh, let him come." Let him come." I said, "No way." And just then we heard a bell go ding dong, and I says, "What's that?" And Corey said, "Well, that's the food bill." I said, "Okay, we'll see you later on." And we drove off, and he went up to eat.
And you never came back?
Oh, yeah.
We were saved by the bell.
You never went to camp.
And I know we used to play card games, and I'd say, let them win once in a while. No, they've got to learn in the world that you can't win all the time. Boy, he's right. So thank God for
So now he never
fathers.
plays cards.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Well, I can remember growing up playing games with you, and you won at everything.
Yeah.
Is that where your competitive nature came from?
I made up the rules.
You and Nana. That's why I never liked Monopoly, because Ginny, she had to win, and if she didn't, then I thought, oh shoot. So I never did like Monopoly.
Think how old that game is then, if you
Oh.
played it as a kid?
And I guess they
Wow.
brought it back now.
Wow.
Sure.
Yeah.
Never stopped.
We have the Disney
Chinese
version.
checkers we used to play a lot.
Yeah. And we used to play, was it called Michigan Rummy?
Yeah.
And we'd keep a game going all summer long. We'd play out in the big sun porch, and
Oil machine.
you'd owe thousands of dollars to each other, and we'd have to keep track. And
See, now you should collect.
because Nana wanted the girls had to stay home. You had to be little ladies.
Well, that's why her mother
That's
liked girls, because
yeah.
she could make the girls stay home, but the boys,
Hmm.
they go out and play, and they were gone. So.
Like chasing sheep into sand pits.
Yeah. She said she'd rather have 6 girls than 1 boy. So she had 6 girls and 3 boys. But
No,
Well,
it's
it's hers.
Yeah.
after her 3rd child, the doctor told her if she had any more, it would kill her. So she had 6 more, and the doctor died.
Sounds like life.
Amazing.
I remember Nana always playing games with us when she babysat, teaching us poker and gin rummy, and
And
helped
when
us
you
with
were
our
real
numbers.
young, and she'd say, "Of course you know how much 2 and 3 is." And boy, you learned your arithmetic early, because she didn't fool around.
That's how young you learn gambling, huh?
Well, we learned our
Learn
numbers.
cards, learn numbers.
31, crazy eights.
I'm figuring
But
it's
I
gonna be
know
about 20 years and I've been
when we
doing
go to your games
Twice as much
and
as
take
my
Bill
age,
with us, we didn't take Sally, so Nana would always come over and stay with Sally. And Nana loved to play rummy, and Sally says, "Do I have to play with her? She cheats." I said, "Just play along with her for the weekend."
How come you didn't bring Sally on the road?
Well, we did.
We did.
Once you said, "I'm real lonesome for her. Won't you bring her?" So this was out
Brought
in
her
South
in the
Dakota
hotel
somewhere.
room, and
Oh,
first
brother.
thing she did was she spilled a bowl of ice cubes all over the floor.
You just can't take her
And
anywhere.
she went to the bathroom, she couldn't get out, she locked herself in, and we had to call the janitor to come up and
They had to take the
take
door,
the door
off.
Should've left her there for a while.
But
I
after
wasn't there.
after Corey's all suited up for the game, and he says, "Well, that's enough. Now you can take her home."
Right.
But he was
So
lonesome
sad,
for her.
Corey.
And Bill would never believe me that he wanted to take her to show and tell. He says,
He
"I
did.
don't believe it."
And then I grew up and had the same teacher.
Shoot, I wonder what you bring for show and tell.
I brought my dad.
Yeah.
And he
I
passed
did that
out
once,
miniature
too.
telephone keychains.
Oh, did he?
It was a hit with
Oh,
the class.
with a
Yeah.
telephone on it.
Yeah, that time you
Princess telephones.
that time you volunteered me to come to school? Oh,
Kids are
God.
good at that.
She volunteered me to come, and I thought, geez, I'm talking to all these people, and I said, what'll I take? So I remember the phone company, I went down to the garage where the cable department was, and I got a great big piece of cable, and I opened up the end of the cable, and all those, there were 2,600 wires coming out of it, all different colors. So I thought, asked the guy, I said, "Can I have a piece of this?" And he sawed off a hunk for me, and I took it to school and showed it to the kids and said, "This is the kind of how phones work and everything." And Sally, in the meanwhile, she's sitting on my lap looking up. It's my father.
Really?
Don't you remember?
How old were you, Sally? Do you remember? Grade or?
Third grade, I think you were.
Was it? Okay.
Because the whole class wrote me a letter thanking me for coming. And
Wow.
Well, that's when she wore those beautiful glasses in third grade.
Hey,
No, I
those,
just get them
No.
to fourth grade.
those glasses are coming back in style.
so wouldn't you
Blue
know,
wingtips.
I asked the kids, I said, well, we have these telephone cables that go from New York all the way to London. I said, you know, underwater in the ocean. And I said, you guys wonder what causes the most trouble to the phone company that's under the water that disturbs the cables? And one guy raised his hand right away, you know. That guy named Nathan, naturally.
It's too bad Joyce isn't here.
Oh, Nathan Johnson.
So Nathan says, "The whales, they get tangled up in the cables."
Smart.
Smart little guy.
Watch it.
So that was the truth. That was the truth.
He thought he had him stumped.
Story, yeah. But I understand that damn cable is still there at the school. So
Oh.
somebody said that their kid went to school one day and there was this cable was still, of course, it's probably 20 years.
Antique now.
Probably decay.
What school was that?
Armitage,
It's still there.
or grade school.
Yeah.
Where at?
It was only about 2-3 blocks from our house. It'd be on 56th or 7th.
Within whistling distance of the home.
Yeah.
And yet our high school was long ways away.
Yeah.
Especially when you're wearing your cheerleading skirt.
You gotta
We
walk.
have to-
You gotta walk to school.
They didn't
Darn
have buses
right.
in
They had
those
buses?
days. No buses.
And I take the long way home just so I could go past my boyfriend's house with him.
Billy and I walked to school and we had holes in our shoes.
He never,
We had to
he
put
never,
magazines in the bottom.
he never had to walk any
Now-
further than a half a
No,
block.
I was
and some
told they
girls
used to
pick 'em
fix
up.
the shoes. Maybe that was
Girl would pick
his
you
father
up?
fixed
Yeah.
the shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to live over 3 miles to get the bus.
Well, I didn't know they had one even.
And then
We
you
were
get
what,
a
2.9?
ticket to get the city bus.
Oh, a city bus. Oh. I remember that's why you left to go to Bible camp.
You mean your
but
dad
not
didn't
all
drop
of
you
it,
off at
because they
school?
had a bus.
Made you walk?
I remember taking a city bus for a while.
That'd be cold in winter time.
Really?
Maybe as a winter.
How could you take it
Up on Penn, I think.
and over to where? I can't imagine.
France.
Probably 50.
Or wouldn't have been France.
It was a long
Upton
ways.
maybe.
So that's the reason why they have like snow days
Xerxes.
and stuff, or let you start late or end
I remember
early
when
because
they-
of how cold it is and you have to walk in that.
I remember when they quit having streetcars, it used to come right up to 54th and Penn. And I remember taking little Corey for a last streetcar ride. And then they changed the buses. Now they wish they had streetcars again. Too late. Yeah.
It was
Corey
hot.
caused them to go out of
Pretty
business.
soon.
No.
And our clothes in those days were not warm like they are today.
Well, not
Boots
lightweight
were-
warm.
Boots were just rubber, weren't they, with a zipper?
Yeah.
You wore your
padding
shoe inside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember any school plays that we participated in?
Not bad.
No, but I could remember you up.
Christmas plays, Christmas plays.
No. I was a raindrop once when I was in grade school. I had a black cape. No, gray cape. And I used to wear that for Halloween afterwards.
That's a pretty good memory, Mother.
Well, that
A
is.
great cape.
Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of costumes did these kids go in for Halloween?
I remember when Sally, you were in a play with the neighbor kids and you were a princess,
I thought she was a sunflower.
you know, and you made that pink frou-frou dress. And,
I was Glinda,
Was
the
that
good
with-
witch of the north.
oh, okay. That was with the Van Every kids?
Yep. But I was in every production in high school.
Yeah.
With Dad, you had to drag him, or I don't think he even went.
Mm.
I can't remember.
Did you sing?
She loved to sing.
No, those were the choir concerts. I don't think the plays were musicals though.
Oh.
Can't remember.
I remember going to ones in Redwood Falls,
No,
even
no.
Oklahoma, and
Yeah, 10 years on the theater board.
yeah.
Yeah, you betcha.
Oh,
Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
you
I can
betcha.
imagine Dad was in drama.
I don't think so.
I know the tradition we used to have around Christmas time was for my birthday. We used to have prune whip.
That was for
Oh.
you.
Oh,
Every group.
Let's go get some.
You laugh
You
now,
gotta put
you
your
may
bib back
next
on.
year.
We'd have a group of
That was good.
telephone friends over. Because another telephone man had your same birthday. You were
Yeah.
twins. And I had to bring out the prune whip for Dad. I don't
What
think
was it?
anybody else. Just prunes cut up in whipped cream. It
Oh.
was horrible.
Well,
He still wants it. Once in a while I do it. but-
That could be dessert after a
Maybe
dinner of
just
spam.
quicker to throw it in the toilet.
Exactly.
Horrible, horrible.
That's eating high off a hog.
Oh,
You
those
save a
days.
step, you just throw it in the toilet first.
What?
The prune whip.
That's what it looks like.
Oh no, that was fun.
But his mother made the most delicious apple pies. Oh, her crust was just. And I don't remember her. Of course, she was a darling, sweet lady. But he said that she used, when you were young, she used to make angel food cakes,
Yeah.
didn't you? And he and Rich would ball it up for a bite. Can you imagine doing all that work and having two little monsters?
Now, your mother, Dad, her mother died when she was really young, so
Right.
how did she learn
Well, she was
homemaking?
raised by her
Sure.
grandparents.
So it was
Her
her
grandmother.
grandmother that
Yeah.
probably taught
She
them
must
to-
have learned all that from her grandmother.
And I think it just came natural to women in those days.
They had to.
They
Yeah.
had to.
I think Nana was such an excellent cook that I never had the confidence. I had to cook, but
Did you teach Sally how to cook?
Did she teach you how to cook?
Barbecue.
Barbecue.
Well, that would have been Grandpa.
Donna had to
I
learn
guess-
to
I
cook
guess-
too.
I guess Dad got the knowledge of the cooking there.
yeah, I had to
Hamburger
learn. I
helper.
had never cooked when we got married. Or
Yeah, I remember your,
Yeah, I was there.
your favorite
Oh.
dish was a bowl of beans with the wieners stuck in
oh, I
straight
thought that
down
was
like
pretty
that.
fancy.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Twin Towers.
Hot dogs and beans with
And
the
then
beans
I had
sticking straight
gotten
up.
a twin
Oh my
waffle
gosh.
iron for a wedding present,
Yeah.
and
You
we
had
ate
the beans
waffles a
sticking
lot.
We ate waffles.
We all knew what he meant.
We'd go to the store and $5 you couldn't carry all the groceries
Yeah.
home.
Plus a 6-pack of Pepsi. Take both of us.
They had sodas back then?
Had what?
Sodas back then?
Yeah. We
Coke
didn't
was
call them
invented in
sodas.
Wow.
And you brought that home for the
$35 a
kids?
month for an apartment.
This was just the two of us.
Oh,
Yeah.
and they drank Kool-Aid growing up, right?
They
I never
furnished heat
liked
too.
Kool-Aid. I don't
What did
think
they
so.
drink?
Included in $35?
Included heat and
Different
water,
juices.
running water. Had to share the toilet with the next door neighbor.
Yeah, well, that was lovely.
That was your first apartment?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he was going to have to go in the Navy, so we were only there for a few months.
8 months.
That long?
What did it cost to get married in those days?
Uh-oh.
Oh, we've heard
Uh-oh.
that story.
$2 for a wedding
License.
license. Her $2.
For $2, I
Mean you
love
See
it.
how
Paid to marry
desperate
him?
I was?
Desperate was right.
That was the best $2 you've ever spent, right?
Yeah.
$5 for the minister, $18.50 for the ring.
And he still got the receipt.
Have you been renewed for next year yet?
Renewed.
Well, he does that on the anniversary. That isn't until next month.
Okay.
He says he'll renew me, give me $1 raise. Just think, now that would be up to $62. That's more than the
Gotta
government.
be
I got
careful
$1 extra a
Learn a
month.
lesson, you gotta be careful what you say. Yeah. And the minister's name was Chauncey Blossom,
Chauncey, you know?
and he, after we got married, he left town, went to Washington DC, and I never heard of him again.
But oh, when we were married at my home, and when Brad heard that, you were married at 2304? I said, yeah, in front of the fireplace. Broad Donna had all kinds of ferneries and flowers and stuff out in the sun porch, and they decorated it all up. My older sisters did it all. Called Dad, and of course this was wartime. Called Dad and said, will you pay for cake and ice cream and stuff? Sure, what the hell, he didn't take care of the money, he didn't care. He just turned his check over to Nana when he payday.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Good way to do it,
Isn't that what you do to Joyce?
Do
Yep.
you really?
Happy wife,
Isn't
happy
that what
life.
Gary does
Yeah.
for you, Sally? All the money just gets handed over?
Yeah.
Oh, you betcha.
Yeah,
Gosh,
really good.
you betcha.
That's the way to do it.
If you want any money left, that's the way to do
I
it.
can remember Billy and his love for cats, and oh, what was the lady's name down, the candy lady?
Cat lady.
The cat. Well, anyhow, he
Mrs.
comes
Gibbons.
home one day.
Mrs. Gibbons.
Look at the kitty that followed me home. Can we keep it? The guy was so big it was the kitty. And oh, when Sharky was lost, oh, we advertised and everything. And one day, somebody brought a black cat and said it was ours. And,
No, it's the day I sent Corey out.
Oh.
Corey wanted to use the car. I
oh,
said,
that's right.
go out and find Sharky and you can use the car. So he goes out and
Find some maybe.
first big black cat he saw, he grabbed it and brought it home.
It wasn't even the right color, was it?
No.
The cat was wild, it was all chewed up, it was fighting. So I threw it in the playhouse and called the Animal Rescue League.
There was Charky, he just got in a cat fight.
You ever seen the movie Meet the Parents?
Oh, yes.
That's what you did.
That's what you
Well, at least I
get.
give you credit, you tried.
We wanted the car.
When you guys were growing up, did you have animals at home? Cats or dogs?
We had a dog named Brownie that got run over in front of the house. And we had a cat one time, but my dad and mother didn't approve of it, and so they called the Animal Rescue League to come and get the cat. And cat was smart enough to run down into by the coal bin there. We used to have kindling wood in there, and she ran in there and hid, and boy, they had to tear all the wood apart to go get the cat. And they took it away. I was only about 6, 7 years old then.
Tell us,
We had a big collie dog, Laddie, when we were little, and he saved Ginny's life once. Pulled her out so she didn't get run over.
No kidding.
Well, Ginny was
She
adventurous.
owes her life to a dog, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but she saved someone's life once when she was only about 9 or
All right.
10 years old. She was on the streetcar and saw this man in trouble on the ground, so she got out, and he was having an epileptic. And she was smart enough to know to pull his tongue out and take care of him until help got there.
You know that there's no truth in the whole tongue thing with seizures. No one can ever swallow their own tongue.
Well, that's what we were taught in those days,
Yeah.
and pretty good for a little girl.
Yeah.
And she got the American Legion Award for that.
Wow.
Okay.
And I wish I knew, I hope Brad has that. I don't know who has it, because they would do that every year in our
It's right next to
grade
the
schools.
ashes.
tell us how you and Dad first met, the first time you ever met each other.
He was a soda jerk at the drugstore down in
He
his
was what, a
court.
jerk?
A jerk.
Oh, a soda jerk, I'm sorry.
And my brother,
What's a soda jerk?
I don't know, he worked in a drugstore for 10 cents an hour.
Right.
And my brother Dave was taking his sister
I was going to
Barb out.
university too.
Okay. But I was just out of high school, and I thought you had to wear black from then on, and I had a great big black hat and a black dress, and Dave took me up to meet coal hours and took me down to the drugstore, and I thought he was about 30 years old. I don't know what he thought I was, but and he said, "Oh,
A
he'd buy
hot
me."
babe.
He said, "Yeah, and all in black." He said he'd buy me a Coke, and I don't even like him, but I thought, fine. But then what did you say? That I
Said
don't.
your brother was going to buy you a Coke. I wouldn't buy you one.
Oh,
I was working there.
what did you say? That you
I
get?
said, order a bottle of Coke. The Coke that comes out of the fountain is no good.
Oh, okay. But before that, I had met. Oh, I shouldn't go into that. Yeah. But I liked him. He was bashful and shy and quiet. Now look at him.
And handsome and good looking.
I didn't
and
say
so
that.
on.
I said,
Slim.
oh yeah.
Slim,
He was slim
So-
up until he
no
quit
pimples.
smoking.
After you met at the drugstore, soda fountain, how long was it before you had your first official date?
Well, I think
We always went out
I think
with
she,
Barb and Dave. Because Mother wouldn't let me go out with boys. I never went out.
for some reason or other, I think I heard from my sister or her brother or something that she said that she thought I was a nice guy and so forth. And I thought, well, pretty busy going to school and working. I didn't have time. I was scared of girls anyway, but I thought, well, I'll call her up and see if maybe she wants to go to a movie or something.
Oh, and I was
Yeah.
living with Ann that year. She had that bad
So
back.
I called her up and she had a bad cold. I said, oh well, that's par for the course. I figured she tried to dump me, real quick. So,
I said I would take a rain check.
well, I didn't hear her. No, I didn't even hear her those days.
I didn't even know what it meant.
Even then.
So I forgot all about her and went on about my business. And a couple of weeks later, a telephone rings and, Warren, how about that rain check?
Did I call you?
Called me. So from
Girls
then,
didn't do
from then
that.
on, that's the way it was.
Oh,
Okay, what's the truth here?
You knew what you wanted.
What? You must have called
oh
me.
yeah, because I had
'Cause I
met
wouldn't have called you.
Rich first of all. I didn't like him at all.
So we kind of went to I think we went a double dated with my brother or my sister and went to a
Harvard.
drugstore at 28th and Hennepin and ordered a soda or something and I thought, my God, doesn't this girl ever stop talking? Chatter, chatter, chatter.
My
Now we-
mother?
Now we know where Sally got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Come by naturally, huh?
And little by little, we started liking each other, and first thing you know, we're kind of going over.
First thing you know, we're over at Sears buying
Yeah, pots and
silverware
pans.
and pots and pans.
God,
And we spent about $100 on pots and pans and silverware and stuff.
big investment in those days.
And I remember I bought a glass ashtray. He smoked in those days at
Should hear these stories.
Woolworths, and it had a C in the middle, and it cost $0.10.
Still got
And I
it.
think I've still got it somewhere. But I remember Mother telling me that that's bad luck. You don't ever have anything monogrammed before you're married. Of course, she was full of superstition.
How many months did you date before you like became engaged and started buying these pots and pans?
I'd say about a little over 4 months, pretty steady. Because I bought her 4 chrysanthemums.
Oh,
Big
4 months,
4
yeah.
big yellow
Those
ones.
great big, yeah, chrysanthemums.
Well, it was the fourth
Month.
month that we sort of had a semi-engagement, you might say.
I never got it ready.
And I remember her mother saying, should have bought a dozen of them, they're cheaper by the dozen.
So you were that sure after that short a period of time?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you
Oh,
betcha.
yeah, sure.
Well, what I meant, Sally, is that it was the 4 months that we decided that we were happily going together, and that we kind of silently said that maybe we liked each other enough to, you know, to call this a, I never gave her an engagement ring or anything like that.
You bought me a watch.
Did you ask her father for her hand?
No, but I mentioned one time that I was very interested in his daughter, and he says, if you're smart, you don't want to marry this family. I'm not very smart.
Then the war
That's why
hastened
it
that.
didn't work.
The war hastened that up, didn't it?
Oh, yes, yeah.
But it was still almost 2 years before you got married, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I wasn't 21 yet. See.
We waited for him to be 21
Your
and.
mother and dad could say no to you
Yeah.
before that. A girl
But
could
I-
get married at 18, but a boy had to wait till 21.
Really?
Yeah, in those days.
But I was only 19, and then a week later I was 20, so.
And I knew if I waited until I was 21 and told my mother and dad I was going to get married, they couldn't say no, you know.
Wow, I didn't realize you were that serious then.
So 9 days after, or at the day after I became 21, I told my mother I was going to get married at the end of the month. There was 9, she says, I wish you'd have given me more time.
She didn't have to do anything.
9 days. And here we are.
Here we are.
How many years later, if you add on those two?
Oh, then it'd be like 64.
Got this
64.
all clean.
Oh, she's doing that now?
And it's smoking like crazy.
Oh, she shouldn't do that.
What?
now.
Not a film.
What's smoking?
She's cleaning the oven.
Your romance.
Woo, baby.
Whee!
It's been a lot of Christmases over the years, huh?
Yeah,
Boy,
a lot of years.
Do not go upstairs.
Why did
When
she
I
do
think
that?
of the years we had to be apart during the war, and how they have such a fit when they're apart 6 months nowadays. The guys going to war, and they do everything for them. They couldn't in the World War II. Everybody had to go. So
they get the email home every day too.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
slow.
everybody was
Cleaning, yeah.
separated.
Get the windows open.
Oh,
You need to get that
So he
smoke out.
didn't
You
get to
can't
see
it
what a
there.
pretty little baby Cory was.
Well, then Gordon came along, remember?
Yeah.
Gordo.
Gordon.
Then he ate you out of house and home, didn't he?
Yep. After dinner, then he'd go and stand with the refrigerator open, you know, like, what's to eat?
Who's that?
Corey.
Cory.
Oh.
He still does that.
Does
Corey.
old habits die hard.
When you got married in your house, how many people were there, do you think?
Oh, I've got the booklet at home, maybe.
30
Oh,
probably.
more than that. Because there's about 4 pages full of names.
I don't know if I've ever seen that book. You're like a wedding album?
Yeah, it's just a little stinky thing.
I thought Dad sent us all copies.
I don't,
I don't really remember.
I don't think
Most
so.
of the people over there are all dead though.
Yeah. Every girlfriend and relative is a widow. I'm the only one that still has a man. So.
Nancy
Mighty
was
lucky. Oh yeah, Nancy was only 12 years old.
there. Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
When did you get the big freezer downstairs at the old house?
From Mel Jess.
There used to be some guy on TV that advertised they would sell freezers full of food, and this was one of their rejects or something. So we got it cheaper.
I never knew that.
Came full of ice cream?
No, but we sure kept it full.
Yes, I do remember the brothers coming upstairs with
There's
bowls
something
full that
burning.
looked like the potatoes
They said
today.
she's cleaning
Am I
the
smelling
oven.
something
Yes,
burning?
they said she's cleaning the oven and it's
I
smoking.
can remember one person that lived down in the basement and had a permanent spoon
Yes.
set up down there.
Jeez.
What's his name?
I
Corey?
kept it in the freezer so it was always cold. I've told the story to many a person over the years about us eating out of the ice cream carton,
Yeah.
squirting chocolate syrup in the vanilla, sprinkling some nuts on top of it, eating one layer and then doing it again. And we're not the only family that did that, I found out. Yeah, other friends ate it like that too.
Oh my
Playing
gosh.
the joints.
You know?
Was that because the bowl just overflowed and you couldn't get enough of it on it?
Well, you didn't want to take the time to get the bowl.
The ice cream melted in the bowl. It stayed harder longer in the carton.
And what was the
Golly.
brand? What was the brand name? Like Glenwood or something? I can remember the carton.
Bridgman.
No, it
No,
was
not the
something else.
vanilla.
Let's play the
Well, maybe it was
store-bought brand.
Glenwood.
It was square or quart size.
Yeah.
Yep.
I used to buy them by the gallon there when I worked at Northland Ice Cream. Remember, I'd bring a whole gallon home.
I think these big things are fine.
And I had to grow up
I don't tell
watching
lies.
these role models.
Soup spoon,
Can you
right?
imagine?
You're just the least bit embarrassed to admit that?
And the pull
That's
out.
why he fits into that photo album.
How about your first
Oh.
TV? When did you get your first TV?
First,
When we moved
first
to
TV,
54th Street?
I put the antenna on top of the house before I bought the TV.
But wasn't that on 54?
That's a good plan.
54th Street.
Oh, yeah. And
I was thinking
so
ahead.
what, when we moved in, Billy was 6 months old and Corey was 6 years old. And you got a Magnavox, wasn't it?
Good one.
Did it have a VCR?
And is it
But
true?
Corey comes home from the neighbors. Oh, you ought to see theirs. It's got great big gold knobs on it. You know, why couldn't we have
Admiral.
that?
It was an Admiral.
The picture's probably that big
Yeah.
too, right?
Tucky Thomas.
And is it true you got color TV when Corey was going to be on TV for
No,
football?
no, we had to
Rented
rent
that.
one.
We rented
We
that.
didn't have one.
You rented?
Yeah.
See the money they spent on you, kid?
Is that the Senior Bowl then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was it.
No, we didn't have one.
But all that money to rent it, jeez.
It was probably $3.
I mean, you
You,
didn't fly
you only
around.
fumbled once. Remember, you fumbled once.
Only once? Did you trip over the chalk line?
On the center handed him the wrong ball.
I thought you were talking about my marriage.
Who was the other
How long
quarterback
did
in
you
that
date
team?
Jimmy?
Carter?
In the Senior Bowl, Virgil Carter from Brigham Young.
That's right.
So was that in the early 60s or mid 60s?
That's
68.
67.
67.
Going back to your marriage,
Squeeze thing.
did your parents all approve of you, the two of you getting married? No problems? What was that?
Hippopotamus.
I wish Evie was down here, the way she says hippopotamus.
We never went around long enough to listen to find out whether they did or not. And if they did, that's too bad.
Because my two older sisters
6 minutes left.
did all the buying and preparation and everything for the reception. And
We never
No,
gave them a
mother.
chance to say yes or no. I mean, we just told them we were gonna get married and that was it, period.
Wow.
Smoke it here.
Mom, when Dad went away to the war,
oh,
who did you live with and how'd you pay your bills and stuff?
well, you got $50 a month. You can imagine how far that went. I lived back at home again. And when I think back now, after the war, when both Ginny and I and Nancy moved into the folks' house, we didn't even ask them, we just moved in. When I think now how awful that must have been for folks to have to put up with all that, and then I had Corey. And
I thought you lived in California when Dad was in the war.
I would go visit my aunt and uncle out there.
Hey, little baby in there.
Not live
She
with
came
him.
out when I was in
my
Java
puppy.
Public School. Got a
Once
job
when
in
he
a
was in San
war
Diego
factory.
at school.
Look, I found my puppy.
That was just for a few months,
Give
wasn't
me.
it?
It was 3 months.
That was the first train ride I ever took.
That's right.
Alone. I had never even gone downtown on the streetcar alone. And,
You just leave it here.
and, thanks honey. And,
Here you go. Nice, Doug.
he met me at the train
No, no.
station and said, have you got $50? That's all I had. And that had to pay for our room. We got one room in a house. Um,
Can I see Huggy Duggy?
we had no money to eat on. Well, he could eat
I
at
want
the base.
this.
So we bought me some peanut butter and a loaf of bread, and I lived on
That's
that.
what he's still feeding you.
Huh?
That's what he still feeds you.
Well, that's just on the days I can't get out for lunch.
Kitty cat. Wow, it's in my purse.
Watch the cord, Evie. Thank you.
Was it hard being a sailor's wife with
Any closing remarks?
not knowing what's going on in the war?
You bet.
Yeah, we're down to 5 minutes.
My father was
5
just
minutes.
wonderful. He'd say, oh, they lost 14 destroyers today.
Nice. Oh, gee, thanks.
Yeah.
Dad, were you ever worried for your life in the war? Did you guys have close battles or
I
tough battles?
remember when our ship went out the first time, we went underneath the Golden Gate Bridge,
Now they're getting more.
and they called me up to the bridge because it was raining out and the windshield wipers on the ship weren't working, and being an electrician, they had electric motor, I was supposed to fix it up. So I'm working on this windshield wiper, and I'm thinking to myself, God, here you are, the minute you go and leave the harbor, you're out in, it could be a Japanese destroyer or submarine right out in the harbor there waiting to knock you out. I thought, is this the way my life is going to be from now on? The Germans are running over to Russia, almost surrounding Moscow. The Marines are getting beat up in Guadalcanal, and the Japanese are taking over Asia, and they were heading for Australia. I thought, is this going to be the rest of my life? You know, that's what I was thinking when I went onto that bridge. But then you figured, well, your ship could get blown up any minute, any time, anywhere. Because with submarines, you're blind to them, you know. So yes, I was worried. But what could you do about it?
Tell us about your sailor buddy whose name was Corey, that you named me after.
Well, he was a signal man, and he used to play a guitar, and he would sing Texas songs. He was from Texas, and he would sing the Rio Grande. I remember the songs he used to sing, and I got to know him pretty well. And we just kind of took a liking to the guy, and I took a liking to the name too. And I always told Donna, I said, if we ever have a kid, we'll name him Corey. Because I kind of like it. And then every day on board ship, we had a Corey coffee pot too. You see the name Corey on the coffee pot. He's quite a famous player, wasn't he?
That was just C-O-R-Y.
And everybody says, oh, you called him Corey because you're the coffee pot on board ship. But he got killed in the war. He was what they call a hot shell man inside the gun mount. When the gun would go off, the hot shell would fly out inside the thing there, and he had to grab it with a big pair of asbestos-covered mittens. And he would grab this hot shell and shove it down the hole, and it would go down into the deck
Goodbye.
and cool off. Because they saved the shells because they were solid brass. And that was his job. But the night we got shot up, everybody in that gun mount got killed. There were 6 men in that gun mount. And this Corey Tatum was his last name, and he got killed.
Can you
And I
imagine?
remember packing his bag and putting his guitar there,
Be careful.
and
Well,
they
there
were sending
isn't
it home
much
to his
room for it,
folks.
honey. I need
Did they bury those guys at sea?
Hmm?
Did they bury those guys at sea?
All 9 of them, 9 men got killed that night.
Can you imagine being in a gun mount? No way to see out?
And I can remember going to breakfast the next day, and they had all these men stacked up alongside where we stood in line to go down to eat. And the camp, they had them covered with canvas, and some of them, their legs were sticking out, and you could see the bones and everything in their legs where they'd been shot off. And it was kind of weird right then, you know, but you thought, well, this is life, this is what we're out here for, to fight, and these things happen, and you have to convince yourself. And then the next day, they put them on a board and played the bugle and played taps and sent each man off one at a time. And as they went into the water, the canvas bag would fill up with air, and the bag would stand up like this, and it would float behind the ship all the way. Finally, it would just be out of sight. You knew eventually that the bag would sink, and just keep going to the bottom.
But didn't you say after the war some parents
One
came
time-
on?
Oh yeah, they came on board ship when they came back to San Francisco. The Navy must have made